You ever seen one of these before? It's called a mask. Let me show you how to use it real quick. You put it on. No COVID. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this. Oh, doesn't work. Oh, what was that? Let me just rewind what just happened for you guys, okay? You're in the store. Ooh, look at this great broccoli. My phone is unlocked and I'm not typing in my passcode. How am I doing it? It's in iOS 14.5, which is to me the most significant update we have seen in probably a year since COVID started. It's actually incredible. I use the Apple Watch. We're going to talk about that as well as the iPhone 13 today. More details about storage and the cameras. Man, it's going to be a big year and I can't wait to tell you about it. So drop a like if you're excited. Hit subscribe for more. And let's get roided up and ready to go. So kicking things off with the iPhone 13, what are our thoughts on the 13 so far? Are our thoughts good? Are they, can't wait to get the phone? Are they bad? But for the iPhone 13, got a couple of updates for you today. Obviously, a big question is always about the camera system. Is it gonna be great or is it gonna be exceptional? I think it's gonna be both these things. Well, on the lenses that aren't the main lens. So generally every year, because it's the lens and the camera angle you use the most, the standard wide angle, we get the most upgrades to that lens. It's the one that is default when you pull out your phone, switch to record video. Obviously on the newer phones, you have the ultra wide angle now, which will make you feel kind of like this. And if you got a pro iPhone, then you get the telephoto as well, which will shoot you down and zoom you in just a little bit. We're hearing this year, for the first time in recollection, that actually most of the camera upgrades will be happening to these, what I would call auxiliary lenses, the ultra wide on all the phones and the telephoto and ultra wide on the pro iPhones. The standard wide angle camera actually reportedly isn't going to be changing that much. Today's information comes courtesy of Barclays, who tells us the best news we've heard about the ultra wide camera since the ultra wide camera dropped on the iPhone. So you know how the ultra wide camera is probably the most fun you can have on an iPhone? I mean, just like these angles you can take of people's heads, it's just too dang good. But see, if it's anything not in direct bright light environment, the camera starts to look really bad really quick. And that's just because the aperture on here isn't very wide, meaning that not that much light gets in the first place, and that's only exacerbated when you go into a medium normal environment, or like anything after sunset looks real funky. So to fix this issue, Apple is planning to allow more light in by increasing the aperture from f2.2 to f1.8. And while this number sounds small, it's actually gonna be pretty significant. It doesn't sound that way based on like, a 0.4 upgrade, but aperture it's really sensitive. So it's actually gonna significantly help the photos. I don't think in low light scenarios it's gonna make a gigantic difference, but I'm happy to see that the ultra wide, like the lens that I personally have the most fun with, is gonna get upgraded because I use it a ton in medium light key scenarios and I just want it to be good. I don't want my phone to come out with photos that are all grainy, and that is going to be improving alongside if you put out that extra cash to get one of the Pro iPhones, the 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max in 2021. You're gonna be getting upgrades to the telephoto lens as well. Now on the Pro Max for the 12 series, Apple did give some telephoto improvements. Essentially, Apple gave the telephoto on the most expensive phone more zoom and let in more light for just being $100 more. And we're hearing that those improvements will be making their way to the standard iPhone 13 size. So basically what Apple did this year, which was giving the Pro Max a physical photography advantage with better hardware, even though the results were really quite subtle, and they're bringing that to both Pros. Listen, if you're a Pro Max person, you get your year where you're just a little bit better than everybody else, but we are claiming the throne once again in 2021. So enjoy it while it lasts, because I just want the Pro phones to be in line, because I don't like the big phone. And you might, but we're talking about me here. It's like how to be the biggest a-hole on YouTube possible. Did I tell you this is about me at the end of the day? This is just physical though. We don't have any details so far about like the software that's gonna be coming, Smart HDR4, maybe night mode version 3. I'm sure those will see pretty nice improvements there, but like we just don't have that yet because software is much harder to leak because it's more directly tied to like teams of people at Apple versus people spread all around the world manufacturing these iPhones, being on the production line and being like, hey, that looks like a different lens arrangement this year. The second rumor is actually a follow-up today for the iPhone 13. I gave you guys that tidbit last week saying that I did not believe, based on the information I've been told from a source that I know to be credible, that 1 terabyte would never come to the iPhone because, well, Apple wants to sell you iCloud storage. And quite frankly, there is no need for any other kind of external storage on an iPhone if you give people 1 terabyte. Now, I think there is a minority of people actually that wants to see 1 terabyte. I thought that'd be the popular opinion, but I saw lots of tweets, DMs, comments on YouTube saying, Sam, I think you've lost it, buddy. I'm the guy or girl or human. I'm the human that needs 1 terabyte. Anyway, coincidentally, like the same day that I put out my exclusive, Jon Prosser, rated about 80% accurate, put out his exclusive, where we were both sort of right. I said it would never come to the iPhone, but he says, well, yes, the methodology as to why Apple wanting to sell iCloud storage is spot on. However, it might actually come to the Pro phones, and if it ever comes, it will only come to the Pro iPhones, just because, well, who needs that much storage? Like, if you want that much storage, you probably want the best iPhone in the market as well. So the hardware is one thing, but of course the software is where the magic happens, and iOS 14.5, my God, guys, have you seen this update? I think everybody has covered it to oblivion by now, but I had to give my 2 cents because this feels like iOS 15 to me. I feel like iOS 15 was dropped early in this update because it includes a feature that universally, as a society, we can love. All right, and shifting over to iOS 14.5 now, you can see the first change right here will show you that this is an update that is not playing around. You go to software update. Once it is done checking, it'll give you a new green check mark, which is so satisfying and also tells you like, hey, your device is up to date with the latest stuff. This also happens if you go over to your Apple Watch. If you go right here, then go to general and software update, you can see the exact similar UI, which is absolutely phenomenal. And speaking of the Apple Watch, that is where the new Mask ID feature comes into play. Obviously, it has been super annoying since the pandemic has started. Well, actually, give me a second to put this on so I can demonstrate. If I try to swipe up, it loads, instantly lets me know that my passcode is required. Well, in the new update in 14.5, watch the same thing. So this phone's on iOS 14.4, but if we bring in the new 14.5 device here, I've got my mask on, you can see it in the reflection. Watch what happens with this feature enabled. I swipe up. You notice that? Let's replay that. Let's try that one more time. It says unlocking with Apple Watch. And guys, this is the same speed, if not actually slightly faster than Face ID. And you'll see something happens here on the watch. It says Sam's iPhone 12 Pro being unlocked, and it works every time. Here's how you set it up. It is so incredibly easy. Again, you just have to make sure that your watch is updated. Go over to Face ID and passcode, and then once you're inside, just scroll down and you'll see right away unlock with Apple Watch. You turn it on and it works instantly. So what it does is uses your Apple Watch that is on your body to authenticate itself. Because you have a passcode on your watch that is mandatory, it essentially uses that as the biometric authentication by knowing that your watch is attached to you. It's not anybody else because you entered the passcode to get it on you, and therefore it's safe to use that as a way to unlock your iPhone. Now, is this technically less secure than Face ID? Yeah, technically it is. But in the supermarket, when you're at the store, when you're trying to just open your phone, this is a major upgrade. And like, yeah, I want to take off the mask. The mask's real annoying when I'm just talking in front of my camera. But yeah, you've got this on the iPhone now. It's phenomenal. I got to hear your thoughts on this because for me, it is a game changer. Like it's the solution to the Face ID issue we've been going through forever, and honestly, that does it. Next up, if you use Type to Siri, which means you prefer to type your inquiries rather than ask Siri auditorily, it now has a new compact UI. So you'd say, how's the weather? Something like this, and you'll see it doesn't take up your entire display. It's subtle and small, just like every other part of the UI in iOS 14, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Next up in reminders, there is finally an option to sort them. Before, it was just kind of a cluster. We'd call that a cluster F. In some cases, you know, you couldn't really sort through them very easily. There's also a way to print here in the same tab. So huge upgrades to the Reminders app here that I think have been a long time coming, but if you've been waiting on this, you know, it took long enough, but you can print and sort reminders, so it won't just be a wildly long list anymore. Next up in music, there have been a number of updates here. First, a made for you section, which right now just showcases like what Apple playlists they've made for you in the past. Great. Oh man, 2019. Seeing these songs, guys, I miss 19. Some big hitters here. It doesn't seem to be working fully functional yet. Like I think most of Apple's playlists that will be custom tailored to you will probably go there as they expand the functionality. Next up, when you're viewing an album or a song, they have the exact release date instead of just the year, October 13th, 2017, an infamous day for one of Gucci Mane's like 50 plus albums he's dropped in his lifetime. I'm reading his autobiography now, and it's really, really good. So that date there is new, which is phenomenal. And when you go to play a song, you can see how it scrolls in the music app. There was a super long time where even in this UI, it would not scroll. Apple has corrected that. As you can see in 14.5, it scrolls on the lock screen, which is a huge deal to me, so I can actually read what is playing. Following that, on the iPhone 12 series, there is now dual SIM 5G support. This was promised a very long time ago from Apple, and it is now implemented properly in iOS 14.5. I do not use dual SIM. This is a screenshot that I got off of Reddit, but if you do, then it's finally here. If you have that work and personal line, throw it in there, sling it in your iPhone, and you can be rocking 5G on at least one of those properly. Next up in podcast, whoa, is that another plug for the greatest podcast in the world, Genius Bar? So this part is not new, the like now playing UI, but if you actually go to your library and then go to a show, this has been redesigned. I think it looks way better because it uses some colorful stuff. Hey, this is another podcast I was on. Am I allowed to plug this much stuff? You can see it takes a color from the main album art and it'll throw it in the background, which is super cool there. Yeah, gosh, this is just a great collection of podcasts that I love listening to. Also, you can go to search now and you've got some new browse categories. Before, I believe it was just plain, very simple. Now you've got browse categories here. And look, if you go to technology, whoa, we are #1 in news shows, baby. Look at that. Huge, huge thanks to all of you. Please keep showing the podcast some love. Our first episode is dropping soon. We're the #1 new in technology. This is incredible to see. I didn't actually think we'd get this response. So #1 news show in technology on iTunes. This is crazy. And also for individual episodes inside of the podcast app, they're a little bit different now. Again, a subtle gradient is applied there. Man, it just looks phenomenal. You'll also notice this now in the Maps app. If you scroll down to Editor's Picks, there's a new UI here for these. When you swipe up, looks really phenomenal. And man, I love this new design language that Apple is applying here. It feels slightly more detailed than like the blandness that came with iOS 7. Heading over now to the News app, there's been some changes inside of News Plus here, and there's a brand new search tab. So it's actually easier to search for content. I believe before that was hidden in following and you'd like swipe up. This is just way more obvious and way more easy to understand and use. Next up, PlayStation 5, Xbox Series S and X controllers now work on the iPhone, which is great. We actually thought this came out in a previous beta, but it did not. It is now here with 14.5, so use your next-gen stuff to play on your own next-gen device. And in messages, when you go to type in a message and you don't have anything typed in yet, that arrow with no sender in the box just remains like a super light faded gray until it's like, hey, you can actually text somebody. And there have been a couple of updates for iPadOS as well. The boot logo, guys, is finally horizontal. Shout out to this person for figuring that out, and Apple for implementing this. Like with the keyboard, it was like, wait, is the boot logo still really? You know, they use the orientation now to detect that. And there's a keyboard emoji search option now. So finding that emoji that you're looking for on iPadOS is just better because it was actually kind of hard to do before. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. That is all for today's video. Drop a like if you enjoyed it. Hit subscribe for more, and I love you guys. Thanks. You're the best. All right, I've got nothing else to add. So peace out. Love you guys. See you in the next video.